Andrews made yesterday, suggesting that China's deliberately timed this deal with the Solomons to disrupt our election campaign. And I note that you have written a letter to her. Has she responded?
No. No is the answer to that. Yesterday we saw Karen Andrews indulge in conspiratorial fantasies and unhinged commentary about foreign interference in our election campaign. Offered with no proof, offered with no reference to intelligence, and I make this point. If Karen Andrews does not have intelligence briefings suggesting that there has been attempts at foreign interference in our election campaign, then she needs to clarify that to the public right now. And if she does have such briefings, we are in caretaker mode. And I remind her that the ASIO Director General has already made clear that such briefings should be provided to both the opposition and the government during the caretaker period. Now, this is not the first time Karen Andrews has done this. Just a few weeks ago, she made another suggestion that she had some kind of intelligence relating to another matter. I wrote to her then and asked for a briefing. We've repeatedly requested such a briefing. Nothing has been forthcoming. What I expect in this circumstance is nothing will be forthcoming either, because Karen Andrews can't substantiate her claims. And if she can, then she needs to ensure that the Labor opposition, as the alternate government, is briefed.
Well, hang on a sec. I'll create a little bit of order here. We'll go to James, then we'll hop over here, and then we'll bounce over there. Yep.
You mentioned, Ms Keneally, that you want to be Home Affairs Minister if Labor wins government. On that issue, why then did you tell Labor for Refugees at the 2021 conference that you would welcome an approach by that group, Labor for Refugees, to end the offshore processing regime if Labor wins government?
Well, I haven't seen that information that you're sharing there with me, and I said this morning on Sky News, but let me be clear. Our policy is Operation Sovereign Borders. Regional resettlement, boat turnbacks were safe to do so, and offshore processing. And let me... No, I did not.
So why are they saying you did?
I don't know. You'd have to ask them. But let me be clear. If you attempt to come to Australia by boat, you will not make it. You will be turned back, or you will be sent for offshore processing in Nauru.
Okay, we'll hop over here. Yep.
Just in regards to the Solomon Islands deal, should China allow the Solomon Islands to release that security pact? And if there are Chinese troops in the Solomon Islands, what does that mean potentially for Australian security detail in the islands?
Well, first of all, the Solomon Islands are a sovereign nation. I'm going to let them make their own decisions about what they release and don't release. But I make this point. The Australian government, the Morrison government, was warned that China was seeking to strike a deal with the Solomon Islands. We saw yesterday the extraordinary commentary from the head of the Office of National Intelligence, Andrew Shearer, saying this was not an intelligence failure. That means it was a government failure. It was a failure by Mr. Morrison not to seek to speak to Prime Minister Salgavari. It was a failure by Mr. Morrison not to send his foreign minister to the Solomon Islands. Mr. Morrison dropped the ball here in what has been the most significant national security failure since World War II. And as a result, Australia is less safe. Now, China does have a foothold now, just 1,600 kilometers from Cairns. And all the chest thumping and empty rhetoric we saw yesterday from Mr. Morrison about red lines is just tough talk with nothing behind it. That's why Labor this week announced our plan to strengthen Australia's relationship with our Pacific family. Mr. Morrison has been caught asleep at the wheel, and as a result, Australia is less secure.